So guys, now we have seen an all-new trailer of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where we saw many different versions of Spider-Man variants. Some of these, we already saw in the previous movie, and some are already shown in the previous trailer. But this trailer provide us some very new and interesting characters. So guys, we have bring you all these Spider-Man in one place, where we tell you, who are they and which universes belong to them. So let's go, see what we have. So guys, first, we have is the Miles Morales, who is returning with his superhero character. We all know who he is and what he is. But what's the story? The story of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse appears to follow straight from the first film, and it stars Shamik Moore voicing Miles Morales, the film's primary Spider-Man. The overall thrust of the trailer suggests Miles' place in the Spider-Verse is contested, leaving him fleeing through the multiverse. That's certainly a shocking direction for the story to take, but it's perfectly in keeping with the themes of movie. Fortunately, Miles will still have allies among the spiders to make it till the end. And guys, if you want to know more about the story, the video link is in description and also in suggestions. Similar to Miles Morales, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse also brings back Haley Steinfeld as Spider-Gwen, also known as Spider-Woman or Ghost Spider. Spider-Gwen originates from a timeline where Gwen Stacy was bitten by that radioactive spider, rather than Peter Parker, and she became a superhero after failing to save her friend Peter, like Uncle Ben in Peter's life. Spider-Gwen's backstory was almost perfectly replicated in the first movie, which positioned her as a potential love interest for Miles. She's clearly still on his side in the upcoming film, as it's her that appears to invite him into the multiverse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse also introduces a new version of Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman, voiced by Issa Rae, from Earth 404. The first trailer included footage from the first 15 minutes of the film, which was shown to attendees at CinemaCon 2022. Jessica enters a fight between Spider-Gwen, Miles, and a dimension-jumping vulture. She appears to be one of those spiders who side with Miles in the mysterious Spider-Verse civil war. And guys, now comes the probable movie villain, who is going to hunt Miles. According to the trailers set up one major Spider-Man variant as an antagonist, if not an outright villain. Promotional art has already shown Miles Morales fighting Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man 2099, and the trailers could answer why. Apparently the events of the first film left a multiversal door open, one that villains are using to travel between dimensions. Presumably, this is somehow tied directly to Miles, explaining why he becomes the target of Spider-Man 2099's ire. He seems to have gathered a group of spider people, known as the Spider Society, from across the multiverse, meaning Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse cameos more spiders than anyone expected, which we are bringing to you. And guys, now comes our original Spider-Man, whose story we have already known and seen from our childhood. Across the Spider-Verse shows us a familiar face, Peter Benjamin Parker from Earth 616, Jake Johnson's Spider-Man variant, who served as Miles Morales' mentor in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The multiversal designation was a subtle detail, establishing this older Peter Parker as the Spider-Man from the comics. It seems the older Peter Parker is back, and no doubt he'll help Miles again. Apparently, Peter's life has changed a lot. He's gotten back with Mary Jane, and they have a daughter, Mayday. In the comics, Mayday becomes the superhero, Spider-Girl, but this has very long way to go, which we are going to talk later. After the old and important faces, movie shows us very new characters, whose designation and importance in the movie are currently not our concern. The mysterious Spider-Verse Nexus features stunning scenes of various Spider-Men chatting. It's unclear how major a role any of these Spider-Men will play in the story. They may simply be blink and you'll miss it Easter eggs. So guys, let's start with Spider-Punk. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse gives us a prominent appearance by Spider-Punk, a character from the comics with a very distinctive look. Daniel Kaluuya will voice Hobie Brown, as seen in the second trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's possible Miles will team up with Spider-Punk as he flees through the multiverse, but we have to wait. So guys, now comes the very special Spider-Man for me, Paviter Prabhakar. In Marvel Comics, Spider-Man India received his first solo comic series in 2005's Spider-Man India, and will appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a member of Spider-Man 2099's Spider Society. Paviter Prabhakar will be voiced by Deadpool's Karan Soni. The inclusion of Spider-Man India, as well as a plethora of other Spider people from a variety of different backgrounds, including a poster in Spider-Gwen's room supporting trans rights, helps to make Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse one of the most diverse and inclusive comic book movies ever. And now, again comes a Spider-Man, who we knows from the movies, but from two different universes. In the trailer, one of the most exciting character is a glimpse of Spider-Man's black costume, an outfit he originally gained during the classic 1984 Secret Wars Marvel event. Later, this turned out to be a symbiote, and he ditched it, only for it to bond with Eddie Brock, who becomes Venom. So guys, now comes Spider-Man's Tron variant. In 2010, Marvel Comics published a range of Tron variants, featuring characters in new Tron-inspired costumes. Spider-Man's was actually integrated into the story, featuring a phenomenal range of high-tech functions, including stealth. The color's change of the suit depends on the functions that have been activated. A Spider-Man in the Tron costume can briefly be seen in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse's Nexus. SpiderByte. Spider-Byte originated on Earth 22191, a reality where a virtual reality world had become equal to the real world, and Margot, aka Spider-Byte, was the spider hero of the virtual plane. In the real world, she is just a typical school student, but is the savior of the virtual world as Spider-Byte. Spider-Byte can be glimpsed in the second trailer for the upcoming Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, though it's unclear how large a role she'll have in the film. PlayStation Spider-Man. The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailers also feature brief glimpse of two very familiar designs, the Peter Parker and Miles Morales from Sony's PlayStation 4 games. Marvel's Spider-Man games have been an absolute hit, with the characters' stories even continuing in the comics. It's great to see those celebrated iterations of Peter and Miles recognized in the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man's armored costume. Spider-Man has worn many costumes in the movies, but the comics have featured several memorable designs. One of the most striking is Spider-Man's armored costume, created to help him cope with an uptick in gang violence. It made its way into Spider-Man, the animated series, back in the 90s, and is fondly remembered by fans. It's not particularly surprising to see this classic armored costume make its way into Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Superior Spider-Man. The Superior Spider-Man rises in Marvel Comics after Peter Parker is killed off in 2012, and replaced with Otto Octavius, who swapped consciousnesses with his teenage nemesis. Instead of using his new powers for evil, however, Octavius is inspired by Parker's dying wish, and becomes the Superior Spider-Man, the new protector of New York City. This variant is set to appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Marvel's classic Iron Spider. There's a comic book accurate rendition of the Iron Spider, an outfit created by Tony Stark, that featured phenomenally advanced technology, including a web glide, that meant Spider-Man didn't need to depend on web slinging. This Spider-Man version we can also see in MCU Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. This suit is most famous for featuring extendable arms, although oddly enough, the original comic book design had only 3, not 4. It will be fun to see how many Waldo's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse's Iron Spider has. Manga Spider-Man. Marvel has a long history of manga tributes. In the comics, Spider-Man manga made his debut back in 2002 as part of the so-called New Mangaverse, and he had a very different origin from the traditional version. In the New Mangaverse, Spider-Man was trained as a member of the Spider Clan of ninjas, and he was trained by his uncle and sensei. This incarnation of Spider-Man was tremendously popular, brought back for a number of key miniseries. Hopefully Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will also feature his version of Mary Jane Watson, who became her universe's Spider-Woman. Spider-Cop. The idea of Spider-Cop is something of a legend in Spider-Man lore, with the character even appearing in the recent Spider-Geddon event, one that also featured a cameo from Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's made his way into the Spider-Verse, where he seems to be playing traffic cop. This is probably just an amusing Easter egg, but it's a delightful one all the same. 17. Spinneret and Spiderling. 2015 Secret Wars comic book event introduced the Renew Your Vows timeline, one in which Peter Parker and Mary Jane had stayed together. Their daughter Annie May inherited Peter's powers, taking up the identity of Spiderling, and it didn't take long for them to become a superhero family. The trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse shows Mary Jane Spinneret and Annie Mae's Spiderling going for a stroll. Hopefully they'll have a larger role. Lady Spider, Spider-Man. Across the Spider-Verse features multiple universes, and some viewers had really hoped to see Lady Spider, a variant who originates from a gloriously steampunk universe. The character hasn't seen much action. She teamed up with Spider-Man 2099 during 2015 Spider-Verse event and has only turned up a handful of times since. The design has clearly impressed Sony's animators because she's one of the more easy-to-spot characters in the trailers for Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Monkey, designated Earth 8101, 2008's Marvel Apes storyline featured several prominent heroes in monkey form, including Spider-Man himself. Spider-Monkey can be briefly glimpsed in the second trailer for Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. In the Spider-Verse comic event, however, Spider-Monkey was killed, so his chances of survival in Sony's upcoming spectacle might be slim. Bombastic Bag Man. One of the most amusing Easter eggs is a brief glimpse of the Bombastic Bag Man. In the comics, Peter Parker was stuck without his costume, and had to borrow a Fantastic Four outfit. Their uniforms aren't masked, so he had to improvise. Easily Spider-Man's worst costume, the Bombastic Bag Man is something of a fan favorite. Sony don't have the rights to the Fantastic Four, so it's been switched up a little for Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. This version wears a traditional Spider-Man outfit with a paper bag over his head. Spider-Wolf. It's easy to miss, but one of the Spider-Man variants seen in the trailers for Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse actually transforms into a wolf. This may be Werewolf Spider-Man from Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness, but the design appears to be a nod to Spider-Man Unlimited instead. This mobile game featured different versions of Spider-Man working together, including a lycanthrope. The Scarlet Spider. A clone of Peter Parker, Ben Reilly is better known as the Scarlet Spider. The classic Scarlet Spider appeared in the second trailer for Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, with his design also featuring prominently in marketing, but the trailers also include his successor Kane in costume as the Scarlet Spider in his less well-known costume. It's possible there will be multiple Scarlet Spiders. To be fair, there are countless versions of Peter Parker, so there's no reason the same can't be true for other characters. 1999 Spider-Man. Spider-Man Unlimited premiered in 1999 on Fox Kids, introducing new audiences to Spider-Man under the production of Saban Entertainment. This version of Spider-Man will show up again during Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, so nostalgic fans can sit back and enjoy the ride as Sony revisits some old favorites. Spider-Man Unlimited only ran for one season of 13 episodes, but its incarnation of Spider-Man obviously stuck in people's heads. Earth 65's Peter Parker. Spider-Gwen's backstory was glimpsed again in the second trailer. This featured her cradling a dying Peter Parker in her arms on Earth 65, their home dimension. This version of Peter Parker became the Lizard instead of Spider-Man, and died in battle with Gwen Stacy after wreaking havoc at his school prom. His death would go on to inspire Spider-Gwen's heroism. The future Foundation Spider-Man. Spider-Man did eventually join the Fantastic Four in the comics, replacing his friend the Human Torch after he was believed to have been killed in the Negative Zone. He donned a new team uniform, a beautiful white design with a more digital spider insignia. The future Foundation Spider-Man seems to be one of the antagonists in Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, because he's seen leaping from Miles Morales. Spider Therapist. The final moments of Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse's second trailer feature one version of Spider-Man sitting in a therapy session with a spider therapist. Mere moments before an army of spider people crash through the wall, the pair share a few words, with the spider therapist already knowing the spider patient's backstory, as it's also his own. This is a funny moment that will be great to see on the big screen. Widow the Spider Horse. One of the variants who crashes through Spider Therapist's office is Widow the Spider Horse, a horse from Earth 31913 who was bitten by a radioactive spider along with his rider, Patrick O'Hara, aka the Web Slinger, who will also appear in Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse. Debuting in 2015's The Amazing Spider-Man series, Patrick and Widow are recruited by Miles Morales to join the Web Warriors, a storyline which could feasibly play out in Across the Spider-Verse, perhaps as a force to battle Spider-Man 2099's Spider Forces. Widow is a hilarious addition to the Spider Society. Other Spider-Mons. There are many more Spider people who are confirmed to be making appearances in Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, many of which haven't yet been seen in trailers for the upcoming film. These variants include Spectacular Spider-Man, Cyborg Spider-Woman, Takuya Yamashiro from the 1978 Japanese Spider-Man series, Doppelganger, Sun Spider, Flash Thompson's Captain Spider, Spider-Knight, Spider-Side, Spider-Man from Earth X, Prince Arachne, and Spider-Cat among many others. The inclusion of so many variations on Spider-Man will surely make Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse the most jam-packed Spider-Man film of all time. Doctor Strange and the Little Nerd from Earth 199,999. While Tom Holland's Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man might not actually make an appearance in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2099 does name-drop the Little Nerd and his mentor in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange. What's interesting, however, is that Across the Spider-Verse seems to be retconning Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness universe designation for the MCU, rewriting the reality as Earth 199,999, as it was previously thought to be, instead of making the MCU Earth 616. Should Tom Holland make an appearance in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, this would be a great way to connect Sony's Spider-Verse and the MCU. So guys, for today that's it. I know I have left many Spider-Man in the video, but if you have seen them, and they are not in this video, even for a bit, please tell me in comments with their name, and their universe. And if you like this video even a little bit, please hit the like button. And don't forget to press the channel subscribe button, to watch more fun and amazing videos. Also, before leaving, do share this video with your friends. So guys, thank you for watching. See you soon.